and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going to be recapping the final episode of EXU Divergence. So, let's get into it. We start with the party having arrived in Vasselheim. The city has seen the dawn of a new age. There's damage to the city from the gods themselves and their clashes, but it still stands. The city has seen the founding, the schism, the heights of the Age of Calamity. These streets felt the footsteps of Vespin Chloris, who would bring calamity to the world and centuries of ruin. But the city still survived. The players see the carts moving throughout the city and these muddy streets. The players can see everything in the city was built to last. The party traveled for days across the sea and made it to the city of Seagate, and then made their way 30 miles to the city. Arrow was very young when he saw this place last, but he has seen the outline of it as they get near, and it pulls him back into his memories. Phaedra starts to understand what it means to endure. This city is that meaning. Garen didn't think he'd ever see this city, and is now in awe of it and how it survived. Crocus thinks that it's big. Simple thoughts for Crocus today. Nia is processing her task to let others know the change that is coming. She's working on her speech as they go along. They see thousands of people in this city. They see all sorts of races here. There's a feeling of both hope and despair. Something is definitely changing in the air. Insight checks from the group: Garen a 15, Nia a 1, Crocus a natural 20, Phaedra a 16, and Arrow a 18. Grandolin, the person who took them across the sea, tells Nia that he can take her straight to the Shadow Brook where the High Priestess of the Moonweaver would be, at the Moonweaver's temple. Nia accepts. Garen is getting the vibe of the people here. There's a bit of panic. He sees a city that has been protecting its people, its relics, and its knowledge. He thinks of Lyanna's cache, of the things that she hid. This is that times all the prime deities. He sees what used to be a defensive city is now turning towards the offensive, and making themselves a bit vulnerable in doing so. Crocus is judging if this place is dangerous or not. He can tell it's safe for a certain type of person. There's not much playfulness here. There are no wizards openly walking about, but it is a place of worship. He can tell there's no safer place in Exandria for protecting faith and its people. He also sees in Phaedra's face someone that is lost in a place that she's never really been before. Phaedra looks at how people look at them, and she notes that people don't seem to mind them, as there's many others like them arriving in the city. Almost as many that are seemingly leaving. There's a bunch of unarmed combatants, monks, getting ready to leave on a very long journey. But she sees that other people like them are in awe of the city as well. The ship they were on was not the only one looking for people. Many other ships grab people as well. She sees a man covered in dust and rubble, wearing a black velvet cloak, and there is a boy beside him with a bandaged hand. He is just blankly looking ahead of himself. Phaedra tells Crocus that they need to deal with that man later for wounding his child. That is the same man that was in Rybad Cole. That is Lord Callister. Arrow thinks that the scale of people making it here, compared to what used to happen back in his youth, is proof that there is change here. He hopes to convey that to the higher-ups here. They make their way to the Shadow Brook. It's a very beautiful area with mirror pools and offering sites to the Fae. They see many people around here and around this temple of the Moonweaver. Some of them are crying and others are holding each other. They seem to all be clerics of the Moonweaver. The party just move around this group and make their way into the temple. They see an older elf woman who is trying to give orders, but is very overwhelmed, and she prays, but unfortunately she gets nothing from this. At this moment, Nia tells the priestess that she has information for her, and wants to speak with her in private. She shows her the symbol of the Moonweaver, and the elf asks where she learned her ways from. Nia says that she's self-taught and needs to make a persuasion check. She rolls a 14. The elf says congratulations on finding her path, and is, gonna walk away because she doesn't really believe in this person having too much information. But then Nia cuts her hand open with her knife and then heals it with her magic. The elf woman freaks out by this. The party tell the elf that they've seen many miracles because of Nia. She then takes them to another building, walking through the mud as they go. The elf asks Nia for her name, and it is given. The elf says that her name is Ildanwin. Ildanwin notes that she has a miracle still. Nia rolls insight and gets a 21. She sees before her someone who once used the greatest magic of the Moonweaver, who now can't understand why the magic is not working for her. Nia can see that Eldonwin's faith is faltering, but she's blaming herself for it. Nia explains the situation to Eldonwin of the gods going beyond the gate, and how the Moonweaver was her sister. To prove it, they let Eldonwin hold the Orb of Avalier, which shows her everything. Eldanwin, I just realized I was saying her name wrong, Eldanwin tells one of her attendants to find Morgana and Rux so they can see to the Farseer. Eldanwin asks Nia to come with her to the Rune Keep. The party agree to go, and they see that she is very stressed out about what's going on and happening to her. Her whole vibe is ruined, as they can, clearly tell, as a young woman is now the one who has answers for her and she doesn't have answers for other people. Nia is also stressed about her position in all this. Eldanwin takes them to the Rune Keep, a keep covered in runes of all sizes. This is the holy site of the Knowing Mentor. They see the faithful of the Knowing Mentor in here. They see that even the floor is covered with runes as they walk in. They go to a small, very quaint bedroom of the Farseer. There are two people inside, and they're standing side by side, or one is standing, one's in a bed. A half-orc man with runic tattoos on his face, and he is shaking under some blankets. Next to him is a dwarven woman, very stout, wearing a bear skin mantle, covering her armor. She's covered in very old scars. She has seen much battle. Her shield has the symbol of a cracked anvil on it. The dwarf woman is pouring her divine magic into the half-orc, and she is muttering in Dwarven, "I know I can't hear you, but please hear me." As she's pouring her magic into the half-orc, Nia can note that the magic isn't finding any purchase. Eldanwin introduces Nia to Morgana, the dwarf woman. Nia tells Morgana that she has information about what's going on. Morgana says it's true then, and Eldanwin says that her magic is gone. Morgana says that she is the Forge Keeper of the Allhammer. She says that none of the Allhammer's followers have heard his voice. They feared the worst for him. She notes that many of the Moonweaver's followers haven't heard their god in years either, but now fear the worst now that their magic has left them as well. Eldanwin says that Nia is a newly forged cleric with her miracles still at hand. Nia explains to Morgana again what happened. Nia offers to help with her miracles, and she offers her friends aid as well. Nia says that she feels that she must share the words of the Moonweaver with them. Arrow says that he's traveled a long way with her, and she's come this way to talk to them. Garen says that she came from the clutches of the Strife Emperor to do so. Phaedra notes that she's not one of faith, but she has great faith in Nia. The two high priestesses look at Nia. Eldanwin asks if the Moonweaver told her, Nia if she must leave. Nia says yes. Crocus says the others must leave as well. Morgana says that the Allhammer wouldn't leave this world and his people. Nia explains the gods leave to protect the people from themselves. She says that there's still power available in this world, and there's still work to be done. Eldanwin is struggling with this news. Nia takes Eldanwin's hand and says that she doesn't have to do this alone, that she can help. Eldanwin just has to keep faith in her god far away. Eldanwin breaks down into Nia's arms at this point. Eldanwin says that it's been her greatest honor to serve her. She's always felt her, and maybe it'll be a great joy to build that up again. Nia thinks that she'll find strength in places that she never knew she had before. The party hear the half-orc sort of wake up at this moment. Nia goes to him to try to help. She pours her healing magic into him. Crocus picks up Eldanwin and says strength starts now. He sees that Eldanwin is looking to Nia to learn anew. Crocus says, learn to learn again. Garen asks who the fuck he is. Nia makes a medicine check of 23. Eldanwin knew a different world, one where her god was right behind her in the flesh. Now she sees something different in Nia. Nia talks about her dreams and hopes to the Farseer as she heals him, pouring love and hope into the Farseer. Arrow, Crocus, Phaedra, and Garen all roll religion checks. As this happens, Nia takes out her mirror and shows her hands holding the hands of the Farseer, telling him that help is here. Garen and Crocus have low rolls on their religion checks, a 6 and a 3. Arrow rolls an 11, and Phaedra rolls a 18. Phaedra is someone who's not a fan of the gods being around, as she used to be under the control of the Strife Emperor. and she is a fan that they are leaving. But she sees that through Nia, love and belief that the divine power still lives in mortal hearts. She can feel the belief that one day Nia and her sister will reunite one day. And that belief is what heals the Farseer. Nia welcomes him back. He thanks her for her miracle. The Farseer says that the easy days are behind them. Nia says that they can create easy days once again. The Farseer says it'll take a while, but he's got nothing better to do than make a better world. Nia shows the Farseer the orb. He sees what the others have seen, and then Crocus takes it back. The Farseer says that knowledge should be shared, not just shown to the few. The Farseer goes to speak, but right as that happens, a kobold wearing platinum armor rolls up on a ram. Fucking hilarious visual. And they have the holy symbol of the platinum dragon. The Farseer says that it seems his mistress has joined Nia's sister. He notes that she suffered a grave injury and paid the price. He felt it and nearly died because of it, and wouldn't be here without Nia. He notes that for those to wield magic from the gods now must require true belief. He says that they will study with her to see how to use their gifts once again, but those gifts will have to be earned by the pure of heart. He says their plan is still in great jeopardy, however, as the final conflict will occur under the long shadow of Gordranis. He says a great evil has been sealed by the mistress, and in her parting, she told him what Nia says is true. Morgana isn't a fan of this. The kobold walks in at this moment and looks up at Crocus and says, "Brother." He says that he is Rux Tallheart, paladin of the Platinum Dragon. Morgana says the followers of the Platinum Dragon have also not heard from their god in a while. Rux says that doesn't matter. If their hearts are true, they will follow. Defending Vasselheim has been an honor. The Farseer says the fight now moves to Wildmount. He says the fight in Wildmount will be against the Scaled Tyrant and the Lord of the Hells. He says there's a problem more complex than just a clashing of two armies, though. All the gods must be found and leave this world for the gate to be truly made. There are prime deities who have been captured. If they don't find them, it just takes one archmage to start the calamity anew. The Farseer asks if they've come across anything in their travels that might point to something. Morgana asks bluntly if they've seen any sealed gates that the gods are standing behind. The party say they came across a few gods in their path, but they haven't seen anything that they're looking for like that. Eldanwin asks Nia to stay in Vasselheim to teach others how to use their gifts properly again. Nia doesn't want to put her needs over the needs of her group. She'll help for a while, but when they all have to go, they will leave. Eldanwin agrees. Rux says that it's time for them to eat, and they will have accommodations met for them. The Farseer says that they'll speak more, and thanks Nia for saving him, as this gives him hope for the battle to come. Rux takes them out into the streets and gives them all cloaks as it's cold here. He says especially for him and Crocus, as they're scaled ones, but Crocus is literally a white dragonborn. He's fine. Phaedra says that he'll be fine. Rux notes that Crocus is very mighty. Arrow says that Rux is imposing as well. Rux says that his size doesn't bother him at all, and it's the smaller the individual means that they have greater bravery on the battlefield. He asks Phaedra what god she follows, and she says that she's between gods right now, but has faith in her friends and the change in the world. Rux laughs and says that means a change bringer then, right? He then says that he'll get them some food, and he walks away from the group. Garen tells Nia that she's doing well for her first time being here in Vasselheim, and she says that she has no idea what she's doing. Garen says that's the trick, no one here does. The group laugh, and as they do, Nia hears a voice behind them yell out Nia. She turns, and she sees her parents pushing through the crowds, looking towards her. She runs up to them, hugging them as she reaches them. She laughs as she does, not crying. She knew this moment would happen. Her parents, however, are crying. Her elven mother and human father, they can't believe that she's here. They say Liana told them that she'd meet Nia at Torm's Hill. Nia then explains what happened to her sister, and Crocus shows them the orb. This is a very common occurrence for them today. Nia tells them that Liana is fine and got her as far as she did. Nia's parents have issues processing. They should be sad that their daughter is gone technically, but technically she's not gone. She's a god, so they're happy. Nia says that Arrow is the reason that she's still alive. Arrow thinks to himself that he's been a protector for so long, and he's very satisfied that he's gotten Nia here. However, he sets those feelings aside and hugs Nia's parents. He tells them that they raised 2 great daughters. They cry hearing that, saying they owe him everything for getting her to them. Her parents take them to their home to feed them. Night comes, days pass, the monks from before head out towards Wildmount for the final battle. Phaedra wants to find the velvet-wearing lord, Callister. She makes an investigation check of 12. It takes them a while. Time passes. Nia helps many learn this new form of magic and harder way to use their magic. As Crocus and Phaedra are looking for their target, Crocus asks why he calls her boss. She's the one who hatched him after all. She says that she did, and he was the greatest prize that she ever got. He says that she might want to think about how it makes him feel that she doesn't refer to him as her child, and instead as a bodyguard. He doesn't have parents, he has her. She calls the rest of her group her boys, but he's her bodyguard. That's fucked up. Phaedra is speechless. As am I. This was insane. She says that she loves him and he's her world. Everything she's done is to make life better for him. He doesn't think that it felt that way, and he didn't understand before now. She didn't teach him how to understand that. She says that she didn't know that he needed that. He says he needed a mom, not a boss, and he walks away from her. Phaedra is now alone at the crossroads. She's deep down, she is a criminal and wonders if there is a place for her in this world or this city at all. She stands still as the world sort of changes around her. Her internal clock has stopped. She's watching everyone pass her by and she feels invisible. She makes a perception check of 14. She hears a muffled sound from her pocket. It's the key. It asks who she's looking for, and she says that she's looking for the noble from Rybat Cole. The key says that he can help find him if he's near a door. She wants to do it. So she looks into the gem and asks him to find the man she's looking for. The ruby lights up, and she starts to look through the keyholes of the city. She sees this man sleeping in a bed near the entrance of the city. The boy is on the ground with no blankets, sleeping curled up in a ball. The wife doesn't seem she made it. She can tell where he is. She tells the key that they're going to go find him, and it's just him and her now. She makes her way to the house. One of the windows is open on the second floor. She climbs up to it with no issue. She looks inside and sees the boy on the ground, and the Lord is in the bed, covered up by blankets. The key awakens in this moment. She makes a stealth check of 23, and she sneaks in like a ghost. She gets real close to the Lord, and she turns the key into a dagger. She holds it to his throat and says, "Wake up. It's time to roll initiative." She rolls a 17, and she's first. She looks in his eyes and sees embers beginning to burn. Meanwhile, Crocus is arguing with himself, but knows that he has to go find her. He makes an investigation check, and if he rolls high enough, he'll find her this turn, but he rolls an 11, so he won't find her yet. Phaedra tells the Lord that she's a follower of the Strife Emperor, a deception check of 14, or she must beat a 14, and she rolled a 13. He holds his hand out. She must make a wisdom saving throw. She rolls a 7. She feels charmed by him. She doesn't know why. She was so mad at him to begin with. He's so regal after all. He says that he should have kept his window closed, but he liked the cold air. He asks for the knife so he can slit her throat. Crocus, investigation check, an 8. Still can't find Phaedra. Phaedra rolls their wisdom save at the end of her turn and fails. The Lord takes the knife and attacks Phaedra, hitting her. She takes 6 damage, but the charm is now broken. She's up again. She goes to roll underneath the bed away from the Lord, taking her crossbow out. She rolls an acrobatics check to not receive an attack of opportunity, but she rolls an 11 and fails. The Lord swings and crits. Phaedra is now out cold. Crocus looks for her again. Investigation check of a 3. Still can't find her. Phaedra, death save. She rolls a 7. She fails. Crocus rolls an investigation check. This time it's finally high enough. It's over 10, which each time the DC is lowered. He smells blood through the open window and he climbs up and into the second floor. He roars as he enters the room and swings for the Lord and misses, but luckily his bonus attack crits. He deals 10 damage as he slams the Lord into the wall. The Lord then charms Crocus. Death save from Phaedra, 18. The Lord says that he will leave and take the boy with him, and Crocus can tend to her body. Crocus nods, and the Lord sneaks out with his son, going down the stairs to the exit. Crocus tries to stabilize Phaedra. With an 18 medicine check, he's able to. Phaedra, unconscious, can hear the voices down below. It says, "My lord, I found the key." A voice says back, "Very good. Find them as only a mortal can. The gate is almost finished." Crocus is on the second floor with Phaedra. He takes her and jumps out the window to the ground. He looks for the Lord Callister, rolling an investigation check. He gets a dirty 20. He follows the blood that he made on the attack that he landed, and sees the man can become invisible, and the footprints and blood go into a crowded area. He activates his belt and jumps to the top of the buildings, making a perception check from his elevated position. He rolls a 16. Unfortunately, he cannot find Lord Callister. He then races off to find his friends back at Nia's parents' place. Meanwhile, Garen is out looking for info on his old home, Uthtor. I'm hopefully saying that right. Uthtor? I believe it's Uthtor. Perception check 13. He goes to a neighborhood called the Bright Forge, which is underground. So, of course, dwarves live there. He finds dwarves loading up carts. He goes to the one leading the loading process named Desmond. He asks him where he's from, and Desmond says that he's from Grishar. Garen asks if he's from Uthtor, and Desmond says that he remembers it from his younger years. These carts are actually going back there. It's been freed from the Crawling King. He says that he's going there for a bit to pay his respects, and then he's going to head off elsewhere. Garen asks when they're heading out, and the dwarf, Desmond, says 2 to 3 weeks before the main caravan leaves. Garen asks if there's space for him, and Desmond says of course, and he can sit next to him, and asks for his name. Garen tells him his name, first name Garen, but he has to search his memory for his last name. He is Garen Hearthheart. The dwarf says that he'll save him a spot next to him, and the two shake hands. As he's going back, Garen sees a temple of the Allhammer down here. He sees people touching bits and pieces of this temple as he goes in. Garen takes in the craftsmanship of this old place, probably older than anything he's ever made. He looks at his hammer and the symbols that he's carved many times that are also in this temple. He stops himself. He doesn't take the journey of faith quite yet. He then heads back towards Nia's place. He finds a stone tablet out on the outside, much like the ones on the inside, but these ones have less care for them. He can tell one stone is from Uthtor. He looks at it for a second and takes it in. He then re-chisels the text back into it. As he does so, he makes a perception check of 13, and he sees that other people look at it now, who would have normally passed by it, but since it's new and refreshed, people are looking at it. A mother shows her kids and asks if any can read it. One steps forward and does so. The gate is built by heart alone, though hearts be held by flesh and flesh and bone by earth and stone. The door we make, when lock we break, will bridge the waters, roads to take. The stone that stand to scaunch the flood, freedom found by toil and blood, by stone betrayed, the seal is made. The hand to hold the heart that prayed. The stairs it shaped, the debts it paid. The gate is shaped, the keystone laid. Garen doesn't see it, but the hallow spell rings through this temple after he makes that. Garen tells the kid that it's their responsibility to maintain these places, and when his strength leaves him, the kid must do what Garen did today so that others can read it as well. Garen then exits towards the home of Nia's parents. Before we get there, Arrow makes his way to the Platinum Sanctuary. Nia goes in with him. He says that meeting her parents made him think of home. He didn't recognize much of Seagate as most of it was destroyed back when the gods came through when he was there. They walk through the temple. He shows her a place that he once sat before. The two sit there again. He tells Nia that his mother was very fearsome and that his father served the dragon. His father was a priest here. His life was that of helping people from Grushar. His parents tried to raise him right during all this. He believes that his life has lived in opposite of the example they set. He asks what Nia will do now that she's been here and she's sort of achieved her goal. She says that she'll answer a new calling till they choose where they go from now, or to choose where they go next. He doesn't know what he'll do next himself. He feels that he's out of place here. Nia says that he's built shelters and bonfires. He's made many places for himself. She thinks this place is waiting for him. Part of him wants to leave with Garen so that they can go looking for their place in this world. He wants to see her well, but wants to introduce the idea of him moving on. Nia thinks that that's okay, but she can't really see herself without him anymore. He can leave for a time, but he doesn't have to be alone. If he wants to, she'll respect it, but he's family now. He says that he'll never truly be alone as she has touched him in a way that no one else has. Get out of the gutter. He carries that change inside of him. She says the person who said change is coming was right after all. They take a second. She says that change is beautiful, but permanence also has some value to it. The two of them then leave the Platinum Sanctuary. As they head back, they meet up with Crocus, who hands Phaedra off to Nia. They go inside her parents' home, and Garen arrives just after and asks what happened. Crocus explains. Nia heals her. Phaedra wakes up and asks where Lord Callister went. The party asks who that is. Crocus says that it was one of the nobles visiting Rybat Cole. Phaedra says that he took the key. Crocus asks why she was even there, and Phaedra felt like she needed to make things better for the little boy. Crocus says that he turned invisible and then he came straight here. Nia picks up a mirror and holds it up. It awakens in this moment, and she can now use the commune spell. She casts it, and they can all see Katha and how it doesn't only shine its light on the world of Exandria. They see the Moonweaver inside of a garden. Nia asks if the Lord is still in Vasselheim. The Moonweaver says Lord Callister is a servant of the Hells and is still in Vasselheim and won't leave. Nia asks if he's used the key, and the Moonweaver says yes, and he'll do so again. The Moonweaver then cuts off Nia before she can ask a question. She says that she is her sister and will answer any questions, but Nia should make the next question as broad as possible. Nia asks where exactly he is. The Moonweaver says that she can't answer a question like that. He's been hidden by another mighty god. The Moonweaver asks if she can answer a question that's been unasked. Nia says yes, and the Moonweaver says that the Lord of the Hells is great at infiltration. She says that clerics are reaching out to the gods in new ways thanks to Nia, and many other gods will soon leave. There are a few weeks before where they will need to search and find the Lord, but a time of conflict is coming, and a fierce decision is coming as well. They can't seal the gate without all of them beyond it. The Moonweaver tells Nia of the story of Downfall. The Moonweaver explains that all the gods that set out for the mission made it there. The Allhammer was going to start making the divine gate when he was mortal. He thought that the foundation to it lied with the immortals. The Moonweaver made a concealing magic to keep other gods from being able to find each other. But as she did, the Lord of the Hells cursed the concealing magic, so they would forget who they were. The Platinum Dragon then charged in to save his brother and was lost as well. They can't close the gate without their siblings. Nia says that means they have to find the gods that don't know who they are, that don't know that they are gods themselves. Nia thanks her sister and she goes back inside the house. She tells the others what happened and what she was told. She tells them that the Lord is looking for the gods like them. Nia says that he won't leave the city, however. Crocus is fucking pissed. Garen says that if it's all connected, that they will find him in time and that Crocus needs to focus. Brennan is going to give them one chance to do this alone without telling anybody else, as they don't know who they can trust. They all roll investigation checks. Nia rolls a 15, Phaedra rolls a 21, Garen rolls a 12, Crocus rolls a 19, and Arrow rolls a 16. Weeks pass, and the time draws near for Garen's convoy that is leaving soon. Phaedra, however, overhears someone talking in a bar about someone using a key with a ruby in it, and that he was looking for a door near the Shadow Brook in a fallen temple. Phaedra tells the others, and the party have been well equipped over this week with better gear, armor, and weapons. Garen's hammer has also awoken. Outside, the party suddenly hear explosions going off. It's fireworks. A copper dragon begins to fly over the city, yelling that Gordranus has fallen. The party's job is now much harder, as the city will be in celebration. As they go, Arrow looks for people watching them, but he thinks that they're in good cover with all the people all around them. If the news is true that the betrayer gods have fallen, only the party know that it isn't quite the end yet. They head towards the Shadow Brook, and they look for a fallen temple. Phaedra rolls an investigation check of natural 20. As they look through some of these chapels, she hears the voice of the key say that he doesn't want to do it, and he doesn't want to make that wish. They all make stealth checks as they move towards the voice. Crocus, natural 20 on stealth, Nia a 2, Arrow a 22, Phaedra a 19, and Garen a 6. As they move, they hear Lord Callister say that people are celebrating, and a voice says he knows what to do. The party feels something is off in this place as they approach. A map comes out. The party see the Lord and his son standing in front of the Moonweaver statue. It's time to roll initiative. Initiative rolls are Crocus with an 18, Nia with an 11, Arrow with a 9, Phaedra with an 8, and Garen with a -1. What the fuck? It is because he's still a goddamn pedestrian stat block. The place is dark here except for the area surrounding the statue. They have a surprise round. Crocus is up. He walks through the door and activates the belt. He says that he couldn't get the taste of his blood out of his mouth, and the belt becomes exultant. He's able to fly across the room, and he casts a lightning bolt. It's not actually a lightning bolt, but something similar. Out of his mouth yet again. The Lord saves, but takes 9 damage for his efforts. Nia is up. She runs in and hides behind a pillar. She aims her crossbow for the key, for the hand holding the key. She shoots and misses. Arrow is up. He charges in and looks around the room for enemies that are hidden. He has dark vision, so he can see that there's devils all the way around this room. An imp on a boulder and a devil right behind Nia, and on the other side of the room, there's about 4 devils and 1 imp. He goes to the devil behind Nia, and he gives her an extra bit of shield, +3 as his shield is now exultant, as the bonus action. He then hits the devil for 3 damage. Phaedra is up. She takes out her bow. She won't let the Lord touch her son again, or ever. Her bow becomes exultant. She casts Hold Person, and Lord Callister fails. She tells him to stop fidgeting, which mirrors what he says, or echoes what he said, to his son as he stabbed him in his hand. She then runs up and takes the key from him. The key says, "Thanks for saving me." The boy looks at Phaedra and says, "Servant?" questioning. Phaedra says that she's going to try to help him. He says that he wouldn't if he were her. Garen is up. He runs up and sees the enemies nearby. He runs up and smashes a pillar near him to crush one of the nearby devils. His hammer awakens in this moment, and he crits on the swing, dealing 68 fucking damage to the pillar. That's insane for a commoner stat block. Making the pillar fall right on top of one of the devils, killing it, and making rubble fall on another one nearby. Lord Callister yells to kill the dwarf. An imp moves up to attack Garen, but misses. The devil near Arrow barks a command, and 2 more devils appear. He swings for Nia and misses. The 2 new devils then charge Garen, only 1 hits. Con save from Garen. He saves and takes 6 damage total. Callister is still held. Crocus is up. He swings for Lord Callister, dealing 9 damage with his claws, and then shoots a lightning bolt, or a bolt of lightning, into the mouth of the Lord Callister, killing him. Thank God he's dead. He says to never touch his mother again. Crocus then flies into the air and looks around. Nia is up and she casts Guidance on Arrow, then casts Healing Word on Garen for 6 damage. He's now full health again. She then flanks the devil with Arrow. Arrow is up. He casts Hunter's Mark on the devil and swings, dealing 11 damage. Phaedra is up. She uses the key to make herself invisible. The key tells her to send the boy through the door. Phaedra asks why. The key says that it'll be the only way to take the devils home. She rolls an insight check, natural 20. The key says, "Why don't you do what you're just fucking told to do?" Phaedra says that she trusted the key, and the key says, "Why don't you make your third wish?" And the door suddenly blasts open in the back of the room, and behind it stands the Lord of the Hells imprisoned in his realm, the Moonweaver's statue creating a boundary blocking him. He's just standing there watching. He can't truly participate in this fight. The Lord of the Hells is clearly wounded, freshly after having lost his fight. The Lord of the Hells taunts Phaedra, and she says that she doesn't care what he thinks. They made it through. They make the change. The boy says, the Lord of the Hells says to me, to the boy, and the boy lifts into the air a bit. Phaedra can tell that the Lord of Hells needs either the key to cross the threshold or the boy to cross the threshold to avoid his fate. Phaedra leaps in the air and grabs onto the boy, making him invisible, so the spell drops because he has no soul and he's an object, apparently. They both drop to the ground, and the Lord of the Hells' eyes begin to glow red as he's looking for them. Timothy, the boy, asks why she's being so nice, but it's Garen's turn. He moves up to the devil and smashes it for 18 damage. The imp moves up and it moves around Garen. It swings for him, and he takes 7 damage from the hit. A devil then attacks Nia and hits for 7 damage. She is poisoned. She can't heal in this poisoned state. 2 attacks then go for Garen, and he takes 4 damage, and then 2 attack Arrow, and he takes 6 damage. Crocus is up and attacks a devil near Garen for 10 damage. He then shoots lightning at it. It fails and takes 11 damage as well. Nia is up. She casts Greater Invisibility on herself, and then she casts Healing Word on Garen for 7 HP. The Lord of the Hells yells to find the boy, and the devil points at Garen. The Lord of the Hells says hello, and now Garen needs to make a strength save. He rolls a 19 and is restrained and pulled into the air and pulled 15 feet towards the Lord of the Hells. Arrow is up. He swings for the devil near him, and he deals 10 damage, killing that devil. He then circles around towards Garen. Phaedra is up. She grabs the boy and takes him to cover. She tells him that he doesn't have to suffer with them being the Lord of the Hells and the devils. The boy says that he's always felt there's something wrong with him. Phaedra says that she's always felt that way too. The boy can tell that she means what she's saying and that she wants to help. Phaedra looks at the key and sees that the soul of the boy is actually in the gem. She can break it and give him his soul back, or she can keep the key and be stinking rich for the rest of her life. Phaedra says if he had the power to be good, would he be good? He says that he'll try, and she puts the key to his chest, and the gem shatters. She sees the Lord and Lady Callister make a child with a soul suspended so that the Lord could walk behind the divine gate. She has saved this boy's soul, and the Lord of the Hells yells in blind fury. Arrow's turn never ended, so he goes up and tries to grab Garen and pulls him down towards the ground. He then puts his shield in front of him. The Lord of the Hells fires a firebolt at Arrow. Arrow is hit and is killed instantly by the damage the firebolt dealt. He is grateful that he found his way again before he died. He thanks Garen for helping him out of Rybad Cole and setting him free. The Lord of the Hell cackles as Arrow falls. Garen is up and he takes off his shield and puts arrows on. He attacks a devil near by for 11 damage, killing that devil. He then moves towards the other devil in front of him. An imp attacks Garen for 6 damage. Crocus is up. He picks up Arrow as he has no issue carrying him. He then says to the Lord of the Hells, change is coming, and he's not it in Draconic, after Arrow taught him how to teach Draconic. He kills the imp as he moves forward towards the exit. Nia is up. She notes that whoever she calls family ends up dying on her. She casts Major Image to make the statue look like it's come to life. It points at the Lord of the Hells and says, do not fall victim to your folly. You have not won yet. The fire suddenly vanishes as the statue comes to life. The Lord of the Hells freaks out and says that she left this world, and the Moonweaver says that she lied. And then the statue smacks the Lord of the Hells and sends him into the bottom pit of hell. The party flee the chapel. They take Arrow's body with them. The final failsafe to get the Lord of the Hells out of his destiny has been stopped. Suddenly, dragon wings the size of the sky appear above, and divine light covers the world in divine protection. They look back at the chapel, just another place that they have to clean later. The cheering of the crowd is slowed around them after what they all just saw. What do the party do next? Crocus asks Nia where Arrow would want to be buried, and she says that he would want to be buried with his wife. Liam picks Arrow's final resting place, which is high in the mountains in Grushar, a loch blessed by the Moonweaver next to his love. Snowgrave Path is known as one of the most beautiful places in Grushar. Liam then leaves the table. What does Phaedra do after the Divergence? She goes back to Grushar, to the countryside with the people of Torm's Hill. She reunites with the rest of the Roaches. They freak out as they see her, that she's missed them. Before she left Vasselheim, Crocus asks what she'll do with Timothy. She says that she'll keep him by his side. Crocus says that she has a second chance to become a mom. He says that he'll go with her to Torm's Hill, but after that they'll go separate ways for a while. Phaedra does in fact adopt Timothy. She gives him a roach tattoo eventually, not yet. Eventually she'll end up in a swamp up north with a group of marauders. One of them takes their helmet off, and it's Kef. He tells her that they're starting a horde and they're going to be laying waste to the countryside. Phaedra says that this is a new world. They went through a lot. They don't need to add more shit to it. Kef agrees. Another one of the marauders says that she's insane and that they're both insane. Kef just silently slits his throat and says that he likes how Phaedra thinks. Phaedra hugs him and says that she's a freak. He says that she's a freak. Crocus left Phaedra in Torm's Hill to find himself, but will send word when he's ready. She's gonna wait for it. Jasmine then leaves the table. Crocus travels for a while. He makes his way to Wildmount. He finds a monastery and trains there. Crocus was dubbed a monster when he was going to die on the battlefield when this campaign first started. Since then, he has found peace and wisdom. He protects the orb, and years from now, the monks of the Cobalt Soul protect this place as well. His wisdom shaped the early roots of this group. Alex then leaves the table. Nia visits Arrow's resting place. She takes a stone like he did before, and she goes back to Vasselheim to teach people that they are never alone, no matter how lonely they feel. She then throws herself into her work for years, for her family and for her friends. She teaches many clerics how to do what they once did without their gods being right behind them. Her work made love appear. Many years later, she hears a voice call out to her. She turns around and sees a water genasi. It's the same one that she met in Torm's Hill, Omdetra. She says that she was very rude to her friend and her back then. Omdetra says that she knew that she hurt Nia that day, and she wishes she could take that back. She didn't want to hurt her. Nia says that it didn't change her path at all. Omdetra asks if Nia ever thought about why she was such an asshole back then. Nia says from time to time she did. Omdetra says that her parents used to follow the Moonweaver and were killed for it. She felt that their faith hurt them and they got nothing out of it in the end. Nia says that faith can't protect them from fate, but it is a fate molder. She apologizes for her loss. Nia says that her fallen friends guide her, so do Omdetra's parents. The two of them walk off together, and Cilia leaves the table. Where does Garen end up? On the first night after, he doesn't rest. He toils through emotion. He looks for a piece of stone. He misses the return troop to Grushar. He wants to make something artistic and perfect. He makes a statue of Arrow and he places it in the fallen chapel of the Moonweaver, the same one they fought in and the same one Arrow died in. The statue has Arrow's shield and Arrow's mother's shield melded into it, so that only the worthy can take the shield off of it. They then travel looking for Desmond, the only survivor he ever met from Uthtor. He finds someone who does know who he is, Desmond Dragonstrike. Garen helps make Craghammer. That's a better way to put it. Like his dreams, dwarf clanging mead cups together. He sits there as a hand touches his back. It's Desmond. Desmond tells him a group of dwarfs far off in a swamp to the north, are making a town called Ben. Desmond wants him to go and help them make something worthwhile. Garen just wants to finish the project before he goes, but he is very tired. He doesn't know if he has another journey in him, but he agrees, and he has one last journey to make. He's making the archway that enters the city before he heads off. It says the same text that he fixed up on the Vasselheim poem outside all those years ago. A blessing falls over Crackhammer when he does so. He eventually makes his way to the swamp town and sees Phaedra there again, which is nice. He tells the dwarves that are there of Crackhammer. They ask him for help making walls and gates for their farms. There's a map maker who eventually comes through from Vasselheim asking what the town is called. Garen says that it's still Ben, like always, and the map maker writes down still Ben. Garen tries to correct him, but is too tired to bother. Great, that's awesome. Garen sees a face that he once carved before. Arrow approaches him. Arrow says hello, Garen. Garen simply laughs. Arrow looks very similar to the last time we saw him, just wearing much sleeker robes, and his scales are clean. Arrow says that he searched for him for some time, but it took his entire immortal life to remember who he was, and suddenly transparent wings curl out. Arrow is the Platinum Dragon. It's time for Garen to remember the same. Aaron says that it's time, my friend, and Garen becomes the Allhammer. The Platinum Dragon says that they brought war to their children, and now it's time to let them grow. The Allhammer says that he looks forward to seeing what they can make. The Allhammer says that he kind of liked it though, and the Platinum Dragon says it's not time to go quite yet. He takes the Allhammer all across the world of Exandria, showing him the world, including the Shattered Teeth, how marvelous to have shaped the mountains and the peaks of this world. They then stand in front of the gates that Garen had created, the stone walkway into Craghammer. All his work was a prologue to this moment. A humble life of service shall serve as a keystone to this gate. Arrow walks ahead of him and waits for Garen. There's only one thing left to do. He goes, and as he does, a quiet, ageless strength in his walk. Garen places the final keystone to protect all he created. He steps through and joins Arrow, the Platinum Dragon. The two brothers pass through the gate beyond, knowing Exandria is in great hands. Loved and cherished by many. Stories abound, adventures unfold. The watchful gaze of the gods giving light to those who use their stories to find a way. The story ends here. Is it Thursday yet? Oh boy, that was great. The ending of this was awesome. Like, so much fun. The twist of Arrow and Garen both being gods is fucking sick. I think a lot of people predicted some of the characters might have been gods or some of their relatives were gods. I really enjoyed that. And the fact that like it was sort of revealed that there was like a protection over the gods so that they didn't know who the other gods were, but then there was a curse on it that they didn't remember who they were. That's brilliant. I thought that was brilliantly set up. It was expertly done. This episode and the first episode are amazing. Like, I very much loved these two episodes. The middle two were kind of slow for me, but these two were great. I very much enjoyed them. Their stories are all great. I like that Crocus kind of went out on his own. I was worried that Crocus wouldn't do his own thing, right? And he would always be Phaedra's, like, second. So I'm very happy that happened. And I'm glad that Phaedra sort of realized that doing what she was doing and not calling Crocus her son was kind of a painful thing and all that. And I like that Nia really found herself in Vasselheim. I very much enjoy this story and these characters. It was all really well done. And honestly, Arrow dying in that way, serving as like an emotional like crux for the story, as like he's the one that got them all there and he's the one that doesn't get to make it afterwards, is very powerful. And I very much enjoyed this story. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about it down below in the comment section. And I will see you guys on Tuesday for whatever video I make next. Peace.